Hey, I'm Eric, and I'm listening to 100 albums in 100 days. For all the details on what I'm doing and why, check out the video pinned in my profile. Today I listened to the 1988 album Operation Mindcrime from the band Queensryche. Now this one's going to fall into the category, if you saw my pinned video, I had three categories. I had albums I never heard, classic albums, and albums with nostalgia attached to them. This is going to fall into my category of classic albums. This is this is my favorite album of all time. It is a concept album, a rock opera, however you want to categorize those. And it is quite possibly in that category the perfect album as far as rock operas or concept albums go. I have searched high and low and listened to just about every rock opera album or concept album that people can suggest or I can find, and the only thing that even comes close to this album is Pink Floyd and The Wall. And before you Pink Floyd fans come for me, do not come for me. I am not disparaging The Wall. I'm just saying, as far as concept and in that category, this album is better than The Wall, and only because the story in The Wall is a little bit looser than the story on Operation Mindcrime. You have to discern some things, more things, and more storyline from The Wall than you do with Operation Mindcrime. It's a story from start to finish, and the plot is very upfront, and it is very easy to follow, and it is intriguing, and it will suck you in from the first couple of songs. I even remember the first time I heard this album. My buddy David and I in high school were sitting in the McDonald's drive-thru one Friday night, and there was another kid from our high school named John Tackett, who was our version of Eddie Munson. If you've seen Stranger Things, you know who Eddie Munson is. He was our version of Eddie Munson, straight down to the jean jacket with no sleeves and all the patches on it. He was Eddie Munson. He jumped into my car or through the window, like hung in the window. It was like, have you guys heard this? And he was waving this cassette in our face, and it was this album. Neither one of us had heard of it. And he was like, you need to listen to this. Go listen to this and bring it back to me when you're done. So after we got our food, we popped it in the cassette player, and we drove around for the next hour listening to this, just dumbfounded and just in awe of what we were listening to. And I took it home that night and listened to it again until the wee hours of the morning. And the next day, I went out and bought my own copy. I think David did too. And I listened to it daily for probably 6 months after that. Every day, at least once, listen to this album. I fell in love with it, and I was doing some conservative math earlier on how many times I've probably listened to this album. It's 35 years old this year, and I did some conservative math. I probably have listened to this album close to 8,000 times, and that's conservative. So, and it's hard for me to pick out a favorite song. I could say Speak or Spraying the Disease, but tomorrow it might be The Needle Lies or I Don't Believe in Love. They actually had a video on MTV for I Don't Believe in Love, and that got this album some more attention. Several years later, after the album came out, they went on tour and did an hour of just other songs like from other albums, and then took a break, and then did this entire album start to finish with props and actors and video. It was a sight to behold. It was impressive. I saw that show twice, and I was just in heaven when I attended those. This is worth your listen. So just in case you've never heard Queensryche, they are hard rock, heavy metal. Very much a metal album, but the story and the way they tell it is worth the listen. So if you have a way to listen to it, I would suggest listening to the whole thing. Don't get 2 or 3 songs in and then stop. You need to hear the whole thing to hear the whole story. it begins and ends beautifully, and I could sit here for the next 20 minutes if TikTok would let me and just gush over this album. It is like I said, it is my favorite album of all time. I do not think anything will ever unseat it from that spot. And I every time I get to answer a question about an album, a favorite album, or great, whatever the question is about, certain albums, this always is my number one answer. So I would encourage you strongly to look up this album and listen to it and let me know what you think. If you're a Pink Floyd fan, please do not come for me. I love Pink Floyd. I have great memories of a friend of mine in high school tied to Pink Floyd. I'm not disparaging Pink Floyd at all. I'm not disparaging The Wall at all. But this album, as far as concept album and storytelling goes, I believe it's head and shoulders above The Wall and anything else I've heard. And I even listened to one at the beginning of this list called Quadrophenia from The Who. It's a very loose concept album, but it's a concept album nonetheless. I've listened to just about anything you can think of as far as concepts, and just nothing comes close. This is it. This is the pinnacle. So if you listen to it, give me your thoughts and tell me what you think. I'm sure some of you aren't going to like it, and that's going to break my heart because I think everybody should love it, but it's just me. So let me know what you think if you listen to it.